Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I'm here with Kendall Goldberg with her movie Gloria Talks Funny. Let's take a look at the clip.
Okay, how's that?
Beautiful. Flawless.
I love you so much. I really love you so.
Kendall, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Congratulations on your film.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved it and I found it very, very funny. For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Yeah, so Gloria Talks Funny is kind of about this voice actress, Gloria, who has been struggling for many years. She used to be the voice of a famous cartoon, Bio Boy, that kind of launched her career, and then that was canceled several years back, but now she's in this part of her life where she's doing anything to get by, you know, commercials, things that aren't really bringing her that joy, but then when they reboot the cartoon, she assumed she would be getting the role because she basically created that character with her voice, this iconic character, and then it's given to someone else, someone much younger and a male. So it's sort of the tales of real life voice actress Candy Milo, who plays Gloria, and her a satirical look at her experiences in the voiceover industry, being a woman above the age of 50.
It was really brilliant. What a great performance she did as well. It was absolutely fantastic following her journey. So comedic. Her time was so brilliant. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
So I knew Candy from, we had worked on a couple short films together before this, and I got to know her really well. And she's been a renowned voiceover actress for many years, and she has so many stories to tell that I feel like she hasn't really gotten the opportunity to tell. So I wanted to help her, and this was my senior thesis at Chapman University.
Wow.
So we sat down one day, started talking about her stories and her ideas, and the character of Gloria came to me, and I tried to write it as authentically as possible, and she was sort of my creative consultant throughout the writing process, and I was like, listen, I would like to take your experiences that haven't been that great and make them funny, sort of shine this humorous light on it so people watch it, because people are more more inclined to watch something funny that's actually about something real versus something really upsetting and dramatic. So it was like, how can we show people what's really going on and make it entertaining at the same time? So that's kind of what we tried to do.
It was from the very first shot you took us in, I was just captivated instantly. You know, you just got us straight away, which was brilliant. What I love as well, we love Chapman, and I can't believe it's your thesis film. It's like you've been doing this 25 years, you know, because it just seems so seasoned and so good. Obviously, you got out of a relationship with your main star. Right. How was the rest of the casting process for you, and how does that work with your kind of in school and everything else as well?
Yeah, I mean, for this film specifically, it was a lot of me reaching out to people I knew, or Candy would be like, oh, I know this person. Like she knew Sean Ryan, who played Dennis, her agent. Yeah, who's hilarious, and introduced me to him, and that worked out well. I knew John Heder because I was working on my feature film at the same time, and he's the star of my feature. Yeah. And Candy is also in my feature. So what happened was, it was a little weird, out of order things, but I started trying to make my feature with John like the summer after my freshman year. And that was obviously way before I even had the idea for Gloria Talks Funny. And as every summer would go by, I was trying to get the money and trying to make my feature. And the summer before I made my thesis, I did a short proof of concept of my feature with Candy, with John, and with the rest of the cast that ended up being in the feature. And so Candy and John got to know each other. I got to know John really well. And when it came time to do my thesis, I needed someone for this role. Last minute, someone got sick. And I was like, well, I guess John could be kind of interesting if he's like around, available, and willing. We had such a good time working together on the short, and we were prepping to shoot my feature right when the summer after my thesis when I graduated. Yeah. So I was like, this is a great opportunity for us to work together again. Yeah. I called him and was like, hey, I know this is crazy, but do you want to be in my senior thesis film for a day? And he was like, sure.
What is it like to, I mean, because, you know, I mean, it's such a wonderful thing to have anyone that's had these astounding, great careers, you know, but what's it like, you know, this is your thesis film and then you've got these incredible actors that you've seen in these big blockbuster movies. What was that feeling like? It must feel great, right?
It was good, yeah. It was great to, I think that the best feeling was overall that they trusted me, you know, enough to be in a student film.
Yeah.
And to for me to helm that, that was a really strong part of the process in creating a good relationship with them to continue working with them. To me, it's just all about finding my team and the people I want to continue to work with. Some of my favorite directors, they recycle their actors on all of their projects because they're so good and they love working with them. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to find someone like Candy and like John who support me and my stories and want to be involved in future projects.
Well, I mean, you're fantastic, so I get why. But now, when you're making a comedy and when you've got this sort of comedic elements, how much do you work with your actors to kind of, help them create those moments, or do you kind of let them improvise, or what sort of techniques do you use?
Well, with them specifically, they are very seasoned and they taught me a lot throughout the process. So I was like, guys, I'm open to whatever, John knows what he's doing. He's a really, really funny guy. Candy as well. She has a lot of years of improv and voice acting and acting under her belt. So I was like, let's go with it. As long as we know we all are on the same page of the objective of each scene and of the film overall, run with it and do what you will. I learned this sort of throughout making my proof of concept for my feature, because we had an actor, Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec, and he would tell me about the process on Parks and Rec and how they were always allowed to improvise, but what they would do is they would get a really solid take for the director of the scripted version, and once they had that, they do a fun run, which is where they let the actors kind of riff, and that's where some of the best material came from. So I tried to sort of utilize that model and let them do their thing after we got exactly what we needed, what was scripted.
What was the biggest challenge you felt?
I think just working with Candy on such a personal story to her, where I wrote it and it's not as personal to me. I had many ways to relate to the story, but it's it's her, very much like an autobiography of her. So, we had to pull from her experiences, which are not all happy and successful, and put them into this kind of funny story. And so really pulling that out of her was I wouldn't say challenging, it was just really fun and really, I've never done anything like that before, because it was just so relatable to her. And it was I was learning about these things along the way, and she was teaching me, but yet I was the director and I was her leader. So it was cool. I mean, she just knows what she's doing. She has so many stories to tell, so it made it really easy for me.
And what's it like then? You've made this film, it's your thesis film, it's the most pressure you kind of have to make it on your end of year before you graduate. What is it like then to have your film out there in film festivals like a NewFilmmakers LA? What is it like to feel that your film is out there? What does that feel like as a director?
It's exciting. I mean, this film did really well in festivals. I guess it was a good festival film. Some films aren't. Some films are really well done, but they have a hard time finding their niche festivals. This film screened at over 50 film festivals, and I was super excited about this one too, because I've heard such good things, and I was really honored to get in. But it's just it's still living its life, and it's been. I made this movie in December 2016, so it's been kind of a while since it's been in circulation. 2016. So I was just really surprised with how many people liked it. That I was like, oh, maybe people find this story interesting. Maybe it should be something bigger. Maybe I should work on another version.
Maybe you should, because I really think you should. I mean, it actually, one of my notes was when I watched it was, I want more. It did leave me. I fell in love with the characters. I fell in love with the story concept. And I think it was, it's very much unfortunately, there is situations where there is still, and we're working through those stigmas of the industry where, well, hang on a second, just because, she's a certain age doesn't mean that there should not be enough opportunity, for her, especially to continue the role she was already doing as well, and I think, was that something that you were kind of thinking about in creating the project as well?
I mean, and a role that she's completely capable of still, I mean, she can still do all of the voices she's ever done. It's not like her voice has changed, she just has more years and more experience under her belt, which I think makes her better. So, it was an interesting thing to see that not only males that are given more opportunity, but younger males with less experience and not nearly as talented as someone like her were just given the role, So it was a little heartbreaking to see, but she's just perfect example of not taking no for an answer, rising above those people that don't want to be on your train, and just moving on and keeping it going down the tracks, you know?
No, it's absolutely, you know, fantastic. I think a great example of, you know, a very, very talented woman as well.
Yeah.
She's absolutely brilliant. What's next for you?
Well, I just released my first feature, so that
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That took a lot. I mean, I've been working on that for like 5.5 years, and then Gloria was sort of like a stepping stone to get to that, you know?
Yeah.
So I released that, and it's out now and viewable on all VOD with Gunpowder and Sky, and
Fantastic.
you know, hopefully making another one. I've been working on adapting Gloria into. We're debating whether or not it's a feature film or if it's like more of a long form episodic or something. But you know, things change so quickly that it's like you should be open to making it into whatever sort of content is right for the story at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a couple things in development. Working with Candy on another story. Working with John on a project. So we'll see what comes next.
It's happening. The greatest thing is it's happening. You're doing so well so soon, and that's fantastic. And it's a great credit to you. You know, having been, you know, obviously graduated, you know, not that long ago, and into the big crazy wide world now, what things have you learned, or is there something you've learned thus far that for anyone out there that wanted to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, a couple things, and one is like nobody's going to do it for you, and nobody's as excited as you are because it's your project. So that was kind of hard for me to learn at first. Is like I was trying to make my movies and thinking like, why are people not as excited as I am? Why are they not working as hard as I am? And it's just because the reality is it's your movie. No one's going to be as excited as you are. I mean, you can get them excited to a certain degree, but it's always going to be you at the end of it who's on the project from beginning to the end. And so that as long as you have that mentality and you're like, I can round up a team that's going to be great for this project and be excited, but ultimately I'm the one who's going to get this made, you know, and I'm the one who has to keep the passion alive. That's something I think that I've learned to keep in mind.
Yeah, very, very good piece of advice there, yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess my other piece of advice would be that everything happens for a reason. I learned that a lot. You know, there were times where something as simple as like a meeting would get canceled, and it happened because I was meant to be at another place that day.
Yeah.
You know, my mentor gave me really good advice, which is, in the future, your movie has already been made, and in the present, you're on the journey to figuring out how that movie gets made. So who's in it, you know, who's involved, who gives you the check, who doesn't, who's a part of the team and who's not. And it's kind of just like, okay, I know however long into the future, I know this movie's done and it's been released into the world the way it was meant to, and now I'm figuring out like, how does it get there?
Yeah.
Putting those puzzle pieces together.
I love that.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's filmmaking therapy right there. Fantastic. No, thank you, Kendall. Thank you for your movie, and so excited to see your continued journey, and please stay in touch and keep bringing more projects, please.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Kendall, everybody.